Welcome to the Ringer NFL Draft Show. My name is Danny Heifetz. I am joined by Danny Kelly, Ben Solak, and Craig Horlbeck. And today, we are going through Mr. Ben Solak has charted every throw from every important quarterback in this draft at NFLDraft.300.com. We're going to go through all, like, what'd you learn? And then also just DK and Solak are just going to tell us where we stand with all these quarterbacks. We are 7 days, or when you're listening, this 7 days out from the NFL Draft.
Thank God.
Seriously.
We have other things coming. We're going to go through the invites, people who are attending the draft, and we're going to go through mistakes. And also, who would you bet your life on?
Athletes who are attending, not just like people.
Well, we are attending the draft too.
Yes, true. Yes, we have a live show on Wednesday, the 24th in Detroit.
Yep. Yeah.
There are still a few tickets available, so check the description in this episode, the description of this episode, and you can buy a ticket. It's only $200.
Link in bio.
Yeah,
and we also
$200. Come see us.
It's not that expensive, Craig.
Everybody who opens the link is kind of like, wow, what a deal.
That's my
this
point.
is
That's
so
what I
much
want.
less than I thought it would be. And then they buy it. And that's
a flash sale. It's only
There's
$25.
an 80% discount right now if you click now.
And only right now, not later, just now.
Well, that's how they used to do commercials. It was like, if you call right now, you'll get
used to love
70% off. I'm like, this is BS.
4 easy payments of $19.99.
Did they offer your whole generation? You know what? We should do this later.
Yeah. I'll talk about it
at the end. Remind me about
We'll talk later.
One other programming note, though. The draft is coming up, as we know, in a week, but this podcast is not going away. For those who've been listening to us for a long time, know that after the draft ends, we switch our feed back to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. So the week after the draft, we are not going anywhere. We will be doing rankings looking ahead to the 2024 season. But yeah, like I said, there will be no dark weeks for us. We will be with you at least once a week, starting right after the draft all the way through kickoff in 2024. So we are not going anywhere.
We never ask for you to follow or subscribe. We're not like, like or subscribe. Literally, unless we change the name of the podcast feed. That's the only time, because I don't want you to get confused and then you can't find us. So just like hit follow on Spotify, hit subscribe, and then give us them stars too while you're at it.
But like, stars.
Give me them stars.
If you like it, and also if you just started listening for the draft and you're like, oh, these guys don't suck, we'll still be doing emails, Baywatch, all that jazz. And also sometimes we get players right in August for fantasy football. But Solak, he'll be having a kid. Well, he won't, but he'll be there. But
technically speaking,
technicality.
He's not having the child, but
right.
I don't know.
We were at our doula session yesterday, and I was practicing the positions. Man, this is a good time. And doing some stretches. It was fun.
Is that the name of the class that they're always in like a movie or something? When stuff like
that's
Lamaze. Yeah,
doula is like a midwife. She's somebody who's like really good at birthing.
She has a new album coming out next month.
Yeah, time person of the year.
That was a dad joke, Craig.
It was a good one. I got my dad jokes mug, little Easter egg for the YouTube people, ready to go.
All right, should we get to the show?
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right. So, wow, this is the first time ever. We're going to be going to Mr. Ben Solak for America's new favorite segment.
Panda Watch. I need a little more growl. Panda Watch. I got to get a little more.
The tone. Yeah. The tone is very different.
Wait, DK,
Panda Watch.
Yeah, you got to really rattle the throat.
Yeah, it's a little more raspy for sure.
It's like aggressive.
Panda Watch. I feel like I'm like imitating a war veteran in a movie. Panda Watch.
If you're also just joining us, you have no idea what's happening. The draft is just Panda Watch from Anchorman, where we're just like, what's up with these guys? And nothing's changed because they haven't played football since. But so like you did go through and chart literally every quarterback in this draft, the ones that matter, and every throw they've had. So
every throw. I feel like we can't gloss over that. You've watched every throw these quarterbacks have
from
made.
Their final season, so long as I have the film. And I don't grade like Caleb Williams versus Texas Word Incarnate. I don't like. I went and looked back at old data, and it was so jacking the numbers that I was like, I'm not doing any of these games anymore. Where they're like, I will do if they play Group of 5. I won't do anything lower than that.
How did Caleb Williams do against Texas Word Incarnate, though?
Pretty good. All right. Turns out Yeah, so all those throws, and like you're looking just for like a big sample, because I'm trying to come up with metrics like how generally accurate were they to the deep area of the field and outside the numbers, and like those can be small samples, and so you need to get like a big sample of a lot of games. They also see like a variety of coverages, right? Like if you have a Pac-12 guy and you're just charting all their Pac-12 games, they're getting so much off cover, and then Caleb Williams plays against Notre Dame, and it's like, oh, like there's some press, like he doesn't see a lot of this when he's in the Pac-12, and so yeah, you got to get a big sample on things.
So I want to go through it again. So look, I'm going to kind of pick out a sentence or two from your assessments that stood out. The one I'm picking, Caleb Williams, USC, obviously he's expected to go number 1 to the Bears. You have the numbers for Caleb, his accuracy on pressured dropbacks are some of the best I've ever collected, both reps when he's getting hit and reps when he escapes the pressure and resets. All this with a totally average rate of interceptable passes. Lisan Al-Gaib.
Yeah. The fact that, like, when you really watch Caleb and you get through all the throws and you get some of the numbers, you start to realize that, like, if you pass over him, like, you know, cursory, like if you just do a quick glance, it looks like there's some plays where he's like super casual and laissez-faire, and like, oh, he just like allows pressure to come, and he throws in this bad platform because he's just like overreacting to pressure. Once you get to the nitty-gritty, you realize, no, like, he just is so fluid and free as an athlete that he can just be like backpedaling, you know, bad throwing platform, bad arm angle because there's pressure coming in his lap, but he's still like processing and making accurate throws and making the right decisions. It's just that he moves so freely. It looks like he doesn't care, but really, like, it's just, no, he like, there's more colors of the rainbow for Caleb Williams. Like he has things in his bag that quarterbacks don't have. Like the Newtonian laws of physics don't apply to the dude. And so I really enjoyed watching Caleb long term because he's a much better processor and much better against pressure and much more responsible than people realize. It's just when you watch, you know, Notre Dame and Utah and Oregon, like some of these games that he's lost, you know, he was bad on the clutch and like he had knucklehead interceptions. Yeah, when you watch the full breadth of his work, this is like, it's maestro level stuff, dude. He really is. It's fun to see.
Ben, I have one quick follow-up for you. I feel like there have been 3 can't miss quarterbacks in like the last 10, 12 years: Luck, Lawrence, and Burrow. And none of them missed. And do you think Caleb Williams is in that camp where you would truly be shocked if he was not at least a competent starting quarterback for a long time in the NFL?
Yes. The highest graded quarterback that I've ever had was Trevor. Second is Caleb. And I have Caleb right in that tier. Where I don't think he's better than Trevor. Like, I wasn't doing Luck. I was in high school when Luck came out. Yeah, he's very different than Trevor in terms of how they played. But in terms of caliber of quarterback prospect, yeah, like, you can't watch Caleb Williams and pretend that you don't see any Mahomes. Anybody who does is lying to themselves. They're like, oh no, like I would never comp him to Mahomes, dude. Like, when you just watch the way he moves, again, it's the freedom of movement. It's the strength from weird platforms. It's the accuracy from weird platforms. It's the creativity. Like the age of quarterbacking that Mahomes heralded, that he helped introduce to the league. Caleb is both a direct product of that. Like, he clearly watched it and been inspired by it. And he's also a continuation of it because he accesses areas of the field that humans don't get to. Like, he makes things possible that aren't possible with other top quarterback prospects. Absolutely. I think Caleb's going to be a multiple-time All-Pro. I think he's going to win an MVP. I think he's going to win a Super Bowl.
Wow. Woo! DK.
Yeah.
Coming off that, do you think there's anything that another team could do that could offer to the Bears to get them off their first pick? Do you think there's anything Washington, who has the second pick and is in the same city where Caleb Williams is from, could offer anything to Chicago to get them to swap picks with them?
I mean, I think there's always a price for everything, right? Like, if they offered 2 first-round picks to move up 1 spot or something like that, and I think you have to think about it. But I think if I'm Chicago, the way that it's set up and the way that they've played this whole thing out to land Caleb Williams, I feel like they've played it so perfectly. It would just be getting cute at this point to move back and not take him. You know what I mean? Like, at some point you got to start doing something instead of continually trading back and everything. I don't know. I wouldn't do it personally. I really like Drake May. He worries me more than Caleb Williams in terms of just like some of the inaccuracies and things like that people are talking about. To me, Caleb Williams has incredible just control of the football at all times. Like, the way he can throw, the way he can vary everything, the way he can move around. He's just in control.
When are we recording Take Purge? We're doing it on Friday?
We're recording this on Wednesday. We are recording our Take Purge on Friday.
All right. I will have an opinion on Caleb Williams on Take Purge. That is to DK's point. I will not say it on this podcast because it would count if I gave it on this podcast.
Yeah.
Later,
Right.
I will. But I just did a play sheet on Caleb Williams. The video's up on Ringer YouTube. We are forgetting just how special this guy is. We've done so much Jaden Daniels talk and so much JJ talk and so much Drake May talk. We've debated QB 2, 3, and 4. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, Caleb at one of the Bears. Sure, great. No, like you could fusion dance the best of May, the best of McCarthy, the best of Jaden Daniels, and you would not get a quarterback close to going one the way with Caleb in this class.
This is what happened with
Lisano
Lawrence. We didn't talk about Lawrence pretty much the entire offseason because there was
and then
clearly...
I wrote a piece where they were like, this guy is interested in other hobbies. We were like, wait, is he bad? And like it's the same thing with Caleb, where it's like, wait, he painted his fingernails. Is he not good? And it's like, no, like stop creating things to talk about just because the on-field product is so good. He is like Lisano Gaib, man. This is the one we've been waiting
It's
for.
the chosen one. What does it mean? The promised one?
It's the voice from Outer Worlds.
Oh.
Mr. I read the book or whatever. What?
Who read it?
I did not read the books.
Does anyone want to do the plot of Dune 2 in 10? Could we do that in 20 seconds?
No.
I haven't seen it, so.
Pink Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it, but I saw somebody recently posted it to Twitter. And that being the entire Dune 2 movie. So maybe I'll just watch it on X.
Don't you dare.
It's on Twitter?
Yes.
I love when that happens.
It kills me.
Just rotate your phone. Yeah.
It absolutely kills me that people just post full movies to X now because you can. It's unbelievable.
Anyone but you just randomly popped on X a couple months ago. I love it.
Stop calling it X.
Are we calling it X?
in the context of the site is so broken, Dune 2 can be published on it, I will call it X.
That's fair.
It does suck that our children will grow up calling it X, and then I'm going to be the old fart to be like, it used to be called Twitter, and they're going to be like, who cares, dude?
What are they going to call tweets? Posts?
You know that meme of the girl ushering the old lady on the walker,
Grandpa.
and it's like Klay Thompson used to be a surgeon in end of game scenarios. He was actually one of the best closers of all time, and it's like, yeah, sure, 0 for 10.
Okay,
against
Grandma,
the
let's
Kings
get you
last
to
night.
bed. Yeah.
So next up,
we
have
used to
Drake
deliver internet to people's homes
On a CD.
The internet came on a CD. The internet. Okay, cool.
Always,
get
dude,
it.
every time.
Next up, we have Drake May, the quarterback from UNC. You mentioned this. I want to read what Solak said. I want to throw it to DK, actually.
I like that Heifetz put him second, even though he's probably not going to get drafted second. It just lets you know where Heifetz's mind is at.
He's
Well,
QB2.
DK brought him up.
Okay.
So, Solak, you wrote May is inaccurate, but with a pinpoint score of 58%, he's not prohibitively inaccurate.
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
I want to
you
put a
said May
pinpoint
is
in that.
inaccurate, but not prohibitively inaccurate?
Yeah. So,
Yes.
is May inaccurate or not? What is pinpoint accurate?
Or is he just a
So,
little inaccurate?
Yes, May is less accurate by my charting than JJ McCarthy and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix, right? He scored worse in terms of pinpoint percentage, which is me grading accuracy, not just for was this catchable, but did it protect your receiver from throwing into a hit unnecessarily? Did it, pull him upfield? Did it allow him to get more yards after the catch? It's kind of hyper specific accuracy. So he charted below those guys, but it's not a terrible number. Michael Penix's number was way worse. There's quarterbacks in previous classes. Like Zach Wilson's number was worse. Malik Willis's number was worse. There's guys who have been talked about as early players who had worse numbers. So there's that. And then also when you start to look at the context of accuracy, because of course Bo Nix was very accurate. He threw behind line of scrimmage all the time. He threw beyond his first read rarely and into tight windows rarely. Drake May is one of the highest tight window throws in this class, one of the highest rates of going beyond his first read in the class. He's one of the highest depths of target in this class. And in those contexts, when he's throwing beyond his first read, when he's throwing downfield, when he's throwing into tight windows, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in this class. So it's not that May was super inaccurate. It's that May was playing on hard mode. And so while he looks inaccurate, it's not prohibitive. It's not oh no, this guy can't make NFL throws. So he absolutely can.
So he can make NFL throws, but he's bad at the easy stuff. When he tries the hard stuff, he's good at it, but he slips up with easier throws.
Yeah. So when he's doing a lot of his quick game stuff, he'll have accuracy drain because his lower half mechanics aren't that great. Right?
It's too easy.
Footwork
It's just too easy for him. He's bored.
Yeah. The other thing that makes grading accuracy really hard is that a lot of it is conditional on wide receiver play, right? There are throws of May where May misses a receiver by 5 yards. And you watch it and you go, okay, well, if that receiver was running a seam, that would have been a perfect throw. But the receiver ran a bender, he curled the route, and so he missed. And then you have to watch the body language of May, watch the body language of the receiver, try to figure out who was the idiot, right? Like did the receiver get this wrong? Like, is this really an inaccurate pass, or did the receiver just break in a way it's incorrect? May's receivers, I thought, were really bad at working in zone coverage. And a lot of times they would run themselves back into coverage and make throws harder for May. I think that there's a lot of worlds in which May walks into the league and just looks more accurate because his receivers are a lot more quarterback friendly. Even like if Tez Walker is going to be an NFLer, top receiver for UNC. You could say Tez is an NFLer. You cannot say he was QB friendly. He drops everything. He snaps off routes at the wrong depth. He doesn't work back to the football. Like May did not May's tight end was like QB friendly. He would like get open and like adjust to the football. Everybody else was May's greatest enemy. These guys, they're just short, small, fast guys who don't know their landmarks. And it was very frustrating to watch.
So DK, do you agree with that? And do you agree that Drake May was not accurate, but it's not his fault?
I think I don't remember exactly what I wrote in my article, but yes, I think his accuracy was a little bit scattershot. I think there were times too where you see and it looks like he's been accurate, but he's kind of just, it's almost like a de facto throwaway. Like there was a lot of times where he like would shoot for the honey hole between the safety and the corner and like deep. And he would just kind of throw it out of bounds because he knew that it wasn't there. And that kind of can reflect your accuracy as well. So I thought, his footwork was erratic at times and his accuracy was erratic at times. So yes, I agree with that. But that being said, everything that Solak said rung true to me. He's a big play hunter. He's a very aggressive thrower. He was kind of doing the thing that Caleb Williams did a lot, which was try to put the team on his back. And sometimes that led to, bad plays or bad throws, inaccurate throws. At the same time, though, he had like a really low turnover-worthy throw rate. It wasn't like he was turning the ball over a lot. It was just the ball wasn't necessarily pinpoint accurate every time.
But the way we're talking about Drake May feels like we're talking about a boom bust quarterback who could hit big or miss big. So DK, why are, like you mentioned that you wouldn't want to do a Caleb trade because if you're the Bears for almost any price, obviously there's always a price, but because the other quarterbacks have downsides, like Drake May sounds like someone who, if he doesn't hit, could suck. But we're not really talking about him like a risky prospect.
Yeah, I don't really feel that way about Drake May. I think I'm just very convicted on Caleb Williams' skill set. Like I think his skill set is so special that I'm just like, I would want to bet on that over anything else. I don't know if boom or bust is the right term for Drake May. I think that maybe he's more in the category of like, we need to develop him a little bit. Who he kind of reminds me of, honestly, is Jordan Love. Jordan Love coming out of college was wildly erratic, like especially his last year. And that was one of the big kind of hangups with him. Obviously, Jordan Love got a really rare opportunity to develop. And I would not, does anyone think he's inaccurate now? Like, I think people generally speaking think he's very accurate and precise in that offense that they run.
Yeah. And the love comparison also is helpful because they're aggressive, right? And again, this provides context for the inaccuracy. Like May is trying so many downfield throws that he kind of needed to try at UNC because like that's how they were going to win games. They didn't have a great running game. They did not have a good defense. That in the league, part of his growing process, and was absolutely true of Jordan Love. Go watch like the early season Jordan Love versus late season Jordan Love. Is just learning when to take your medicine and get the 2nd and 6, right? It's just like, dude, like we cannot be trying to move the ball down the field in 4 plays like it's Madden on every single drive. And that's going to be something that May has to learn. The boom bust construction is like fine for me. I understand that construction. If we clarify that like the boom is worth the bust, right? They're like I think like Jaden Daniels.
Heifetz and Craig just smiling.
Yeah.
Get your minds out of the gutters.
Yeah. I think Jaden Daniels is very boom bust, but I think like there's an argument that like, dude, you introduced this construction. You started this.
Just saying the boom is worth the bust is funny. It's objectively funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm with you. I'm in there. All right, now I have to try to do the rest of this monologue, trying to say bust as many times as many ways that will get Heifetz going. When Drake May hits, we're talking like top 10 quarterback. We're talking like a Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert sort of a player. Even in the worlds where Drake May misses, he misses by like being too aggressive, attacking too difficult of throws. Like his bust is still going to work in the league.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to be like erratic and high, like, high variance, high ceiling, low floor. It's going to be frustrating, but you can smooth that out over time. Like you really, really can. And so to me, like the risk is very much worth the reward when it comes to Drake May.
Tool set, skill set, overall talent, I'm still really wanting to bet on Drake May.
Intangibles, everybody, he's like the best leader. Everybody loves him in a locker room. All the vibes are really good about Drake May, just like as a dude.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I still really love May. I want to bet on him. I think at the end of the day, like the short way of the TLDR version of everything that we just said is like landing spot is going to make a difference in terms of like how quickly it all comes together for him, I think.
So next up with Jaden Daniels, quarterback at LSU. I mean, again, won the Heisman Trophy and kind of wasn't weirdly kind of Joe Burrow-ish, and that wasn't super on the radar necessarily as a top draft pick, and then has one insane offensive record-breaking season at LSU, and then now is like in this conversation. So look, you wrote, in all my time charting, I don't think I've seen anything quite like Daniels' pressure response numbers. He stood in the face, Jaden Daniels, stood in the face of pressure and delivered a pass in just over 1 out of every 3 dropbacks. That's an absurd number. He took a sack on almost a quarter of the dropbacks.
Right.
Yeah. So if Jaden Daniels was pressured, right, and this is in the pocket, his guard lost, or he was in the pocket for too long and a guy inevitably won, or there was a blitz and there was a free rusher. He was out of the pocket by design and a guy came and rushed him. If he got any sort of pressure in his vicinity, he was remarkably more likely to either scramble or take a sack than he was to just stand and deliver the ball, which is just not acceptable. It's not tenable. It denies the structure of the offense. It denies opportunities for the receivers to make plays, for the tight ends to make plays, for the offensive line to make plays. Like Jaden Daniels so quickly and concerningly runs towards backyard football, pursues backyard football, it will make decisions to get away from college football and NFL football and real football and design football in the playbook to just return to the safety of backyard football. It's terrifying. It's so concerning. If it works, he's going to be the biggest headache to defend in the league. Like it's going to be such a challenge to defend because every time he gets outside of the pocket, it's just sirens going off. He's breaking tackles. He's drop kicking safeties. He's running circles around linebackers. Like he's such a good athlete. But it's just we have seen so many quarterbacks in the league fail because their response to pressure breaks the offense, right? It's just like, all right, like if you can keep them clean, keep them on schedule, it's great. But the second they start to get a grain of sands in the cogs of their system, they short circuit, and that's absolutely the case right now with Jaden. It's I've never charted a quarterback who stands and delivers the ball less in the face of pressure than I have with Jaden Daniels.
Is there a worry that this is just another version of Justin Fields?
He sounds like skinny Justin Fields, to be honest.
My comp for Justin Fields, like I don't release my rankings or my comps like DK does on the board, but like I'll tweet them out. My comp is stick figure Justin Fields.
For Jaden Daniels, yeah.
He doesn't throw over the middle of the field. He goes deep. He scrambles too quickly, and he has
multiple first round receivers.
But he's probably not as slow of a processor. I think is like maybe the hope that gives you hope about Jaden Daniels.
Probably, but also Justin Fields didn't look like a slow processor at Ohio State. He had 2 top 20 picks at wide receiver, and that's what I've got with Jaden Daniels, right?
But he has. I think the difference though is that Jaden Daniels like improved each year of college, and I like it's weird because he's old, and on one hand it's like okay, it's bad that he took that long to dominate college, but at the same time there is. Like,
I'm not convinced he improved each year of college. I think he got good in his final season when he had 2 top 15, 20 picks of receivers and a great offensive line. Like that's the thing is you say improved every year. I say late breakout. Justin Fields at least was doing it when he was 20, right? Like that to me was more interesting.
So DK, what is you said he had Jaden Daniels has shades of Robert Griffin III. What did Arch? Because no one had issues with Robert Griffin III being the second pick in the draft. What?
Yeah, but I bet wasn't that because he was the first of his kind and people were enamored by such a skill set and we hadn't seen much of it. Now we have a track record of all these guys.
Yeah,
like
but also I would say it's more normalized now to have a quarterback who's can run more to be like, yeah, that'll work. I would say, like, but what did RG3 have that Jaden Daniels doesn't have that prevents you from wanting to pull trigger on Jaden Daniels?
I mean, I don't know if I really look that deeply into like I don't think he's exactly RG3. I just think stylistically this is a dual threat guy who's skinny. My comp was like essentially like this is a highly athletic guy that loves to attack down the field and can do a ton of things with his legs, but is skinny and there's worries about injury. So like that was my comp. I don't think they're necessarily the same player.
Let's say it's the only way that matters then. Let's say the draft goes Caleb Williams to the Bears, and let's say Washington takes Drake May with the second pick. New England is on the horn with the third pick. Mm-hmm. You could take Jaden Daniels at LSU or JJ McCarthy. The Raiders are on the phone and they're offering you like, because Antonio Pierce was Jaden Daniels, like he coached at Arizona State, he recruited him. The Raiders are on the phone, they want Jaden Daniels. Let's say the package is fair. It's not like it's like your first, the next year first. It's like a normal. Are you like, yes, let's do it because I don't believe that Jaden Daniels is like the quarterback for this team. Like it's not like just this chicken and the egg. Like, is it better? Like, is he good enough to build your team around? Yes or no?
I think I lean towards trade back because I don't have enough conviction that he is the guy. I would say, I put it this way. I'm worried enough about all the things that we've talked about with him all along that I probably would just be like, let someone else take him. That being said, I think there is a realistic version of Jaden Daniels where he comes in and just lights the NFL on fire. But I have enough legitimate concerns about some of the pressure to sack numbers, some of the scramble rate numbers, all the things that we've been talking about all this whole process, that it's just like in the back of my mind and it worries me. And I probably would be like, I'm going to take the huge package that we're getting to trade back and just figure it out later.
I don't really get what's going on with Jaden Daniels. I really don't. It feels like almost everybody in the media agrees that he should not be the second pick and that Drake May is better. I would say there's the overwhelming majority.
So that's not I will say that like there's a couple like big media guys who have him super high, right? Like I know like Orlovsky's got Jaden Daniels ranked super high, and so like there are some dudes who are like really big on him that I think has created a public perception that like Jaden should be up there, which is not to levy a criticism of Orlovsky. It's just I think probably more people listen to Orlovsky than listen to us, if I'm being honest. So that's why you get that sort of influence.
I just feel like all the people I'm reading online are like Drake May's a better quarterback. Jaden Daniels is way too big of a risk, all this stuff. And I don't understand why he is such a lock for Washington to take him at number 2. I don't understand why the Washington front office is so convinced of this player when it seems like nobody else is. Why is it just them?
I don't think he's a lock, but I think that Jaden Daniels fits a lot better with what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do with the offense. And I just think he fits that better. He might not be the pick for Washington, though.
Which I do hear. Like, I do think Jaden fits well for Washington. I also like Drake May played in the air raid. Drake May 2022 was Phil Longo. With his OC was Phil Longo. It is as air raid as you can get. Like, I agree that Jaden fits. Whenever people are like, "Oh, Drake May is not what Washington's looking for," I'm like, "What are they looking for? This guy ran the system."
I just think this is weird.
About the system. I'm saying like I think Cliff Kingsbury has the Lincoln Riley in him, where they're what's the word? Hot. They're hot men who seem to be able to like probably recruit and identify talent more than necessarily like a stickler for details. And I think Kyle Shanahan wants a quarterback to be his like controller, and he's just playing Madden through him. I think Cliff Kingsbury is like Lincoln Riley at USC. He's coaching Caleb Williams, who's like, yeah, Caleb, this is the play, but just go make something happen, man. Like there's kind of like an LIVIN, like, and I think that the idea that Jaden Daniels can come in and just like, play didn't work, but Jaden just made it happen. Good job, teamwork right there. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's an element of bailing your ass out that Jaden Daniels kind of brings, but
I will say that, like, on the Jaden Daniels lock for 2 thing, so much of it right now, everybody who's reporting Jaden Daniels at 2 makes it very clear that they are reporting that because the rest of the league thinks that Jaden Daniels is going.
And that's what Zach Wilson was to the Jets, where we just were like, oh, this is going to happen. So then we kind of move on. And so whether it's a good idea or not.
Right now on FanDuel, Jaden Daniels minus 300 to go 2 overall. That is the biggest favorite he has been. It's the biggest favorite we've had for that pick in months. And so like that's the expectation. We are going to be all together in Detroit literally like a week from right now talking about all the the top 5 picks, top 10 picks, what to expect. First day is tomorrow. I would not be surprised if our opening thing on the show is about how the Jaden Daniels thing was not true and it's JJ McCarthy or it's Drake May. Just because the way this is being reported and intimated is like putting the tea leaves together, we think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. But if somebody gets good sourcing on the Commanders and says, "Hey, like it's JJ," I am ready to change my perspective on 2 overall pretty quick.
It's interesting too because I think, Craig, for most of the college season, at least from my perspective, maybe I just didn't see this, but it was Caleb Williams and Drake May, clear cut number 1 and number 2.
Yes,
and then Jaden Daniels kind of swooped in. As not, he didn't even swoop in initially as like the number 2 pick. He all of a sudden people are talking about Jaden Daniels as a 1st round pick. Like, oh, maybe he's going to sneak into the 1st round, And then gradually, as this process has gone along, we're talking about him as the like probable number 2 pick. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, oh, this guy has the talent to be in the first round. This guy, everything he's done this year has been so amazing. He could be a first round pick. Now it's like, oh, he's better than Drake May. Drake May is the, QB 5 or 6 or whatever on some people's boards. And so it's just, this is the perfect example of just the draft industrial complex that we just talk ourselves in circles for months and decide things, even though these guys haven't played or done anything. This is like my rant against the pro days. Like, they're not playing football. Nothing is happening.
They're playing
catch. No one
catch.
has played football since freaking January or whatever. So it's like, it's just kind of ludicrous. I don't know.
I love that breakout.
That's the process. That's how it goes.
That DK breakout's my favorite. They're going out there and they're playing catch.
Did you hear Dan Quinn? By the way, someone was interviewing Dan Quinn the other day, and he was like, let's be honest. I mean, at these pro days, they're just going out there and playing against air. Like, why are we talking about it so much?
We got to get Dan Quinn and
Dan
DK
Quinn knows ball.
Dan Quinn, come on the take purge.
Just DK and Dan Quinn hanging out in the backyard, grilling up some burgers, complaining about the HOA and the fact that they're not even doing anything at pro days.
They're playing catch, complaining about how pro days are just playing catch.
This is our pro day.
We're doing the same thing.
This is our pro day.
Dan Quinn comes on the take purge. He's like, I didn't even want this job.
Dude, if I go out there and play catch, I could be accurate on a couple throws. Get me at a pro day,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for the take purge. Anyway. But wait, while we're on this, DK, you just said about how much of this is us talking to ourselves in circles. You texted us over the weekend about how much of JJ McCarthy's game is the lack of reps letting people fill the imagination for whatever they want to see.
Well, I think this is something I've been trying to say myself this whole time, and I haven't really been able to enunciate it. So I found somebody who tweeted this out. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the tweet real quick. And this is from Max Toscano. And he basically said, so much about McCarthy is imaginary. It's projected onto him and allowed to exist because the insulation and lack of volume creates so many gaps. You can fill it with whatever you want. And
mystery box.
To me, it's just like, this is what I was trying to get to with like, oh, he doesn't ever play in the second half. He has like X amount of pass attempts in the fourth quarter. He didn't play in like 7 or 8 fourth quarters because they were just always kicking everyone's asses. And therefore, and so people, I think, can just fill that lack of actual game reps where they're trying to come from behind or whatever with whatever they want. And they project what he can be based on some of the plays that he made in the first half. And I'm not even saying JJ McCarthy is bad or is going to be bad. I am open to the idea that McCarthy kicks ass in the NFL. My main point is just like, I don't feel like we've seen him throw enough passes literally to figure out whether he's going to be like this elite passer in the NFL. Some people, I think, maybe are just more convicted in their projection of what he can be in the NFL based on what he's done so far. But I'm just like, to me, he just feels more like a mystery box than anything.
Ben, how much of JJ McCarthy, in your opinion, is, look, it's a small sample size, but there are moments that showed that he did what we expect him to do in the NFL? Or is it we actually haven't seen this really yet? This is all just a projection based on traits.
Oh, I think that that most of it is a projection based on traits. Now, what I do want to say is that we got to see him when he's down thing, leading the comeback, whatever. Like, I do think that is generally overrated, and so accordingly, like the opposite, which is like, well, he's leading all of the time, and so we haven't seen him do this. Like, I think that also like can be overrated, right? Like, we've obviously it's necessary context, but like, for example, Caleb. In a lot of close games this year where they were down in the fourth quarter, or even like when they were down multiple scores, Caleb made a lot of mistakes this year. We don't really talk about that because like we just don't care. Like, Caleb's good enough. And so with JJ, it's a little bit like, because we don't have other stuff to talk about, we talk about this. So there's some ways to overrate it, which I think we've done a really good job on this show talking about it and putting it in context. But with McCarthy, like you can see why he got recruited. You can see why he's the starting quarterback at Michigan. You can see some of the peak throws, and you can be like, yeah, like this guy's an NFL future. Beyond that, like the idea of being like, well, I like him more than Drake May, like that's ludicrous to me. Like, I watched Drake May for 2 seasons do like huge pro quarterback things in terms of the throws and the context and the guys he was playing with and the system he was playing, and like they have to deal with these problems and that problems and create this and grow in this way. And just JJ's just kind of like a static point. He's like, he is what he has been, which is just like, all right, like he's quick and he's got like a good arm and he's flexible and like, You know, he can create a little bit, and there it is. Like there's not much of an arc with JJ. He just walked in and just like, all right, we win games here, right? And they're like, yeah. He was like, how many times I have to throw it? And they were like 13, and that was just for 2 years. That's all JJ did. So he's a little bit like of a fixed point. And so when teams go to, I think, prognosticate his arc, like how he's going to grow in the league, they're inherently very rosy because like you haven't really seen him encounter a lot of downs yet, and he's a great like guy. Like he's a good leader and like people like him. And so it's like, oh, he's absolutely 100% going to get better. Because he's young, he's inexperienced, he's got a good head on his shoulder. So he's going to improve for sure. And it's like, man, it'd be nice if it was that simple, isn't it? But it rarely is.
It's also a Tom Brady generation. It's a kid who went to Michigan, but like very much obviously has like grown up in the shadow of Tom Brady and all the leadership. And it's just kind of dripping out of the whole situation, honestly.
DK, does the fact that Jim Harbaugh calls him the Iceman change your opinion about him?
Is that what he calls him?
Yeah.
Oh man, I try not to take anything that Jim Harbaugh says to heart.
Wow, I see. I'm the opposite. I take everything Jim Harbaugh.
I'm gonna live by everything that guy says.
Spit off of this planet, Jim. I love it. Keep at it.
JJ McCarthy. You know his name is John James McCarthy.
Yeah,
oh my God,
classic name.
Does that
have to
John
go back through
James Jingleheimer Schmidt?
I was reading about McCarthy more because he's just an interesting guy. He like told all his teammates coming to Michigan that like, if you're here to party and chase girls, like this is not the team for you. The yoga, the meditation, Iceman, cool under pressure. He like apparently could have gone pro in hockey. He was like an amazing hockey player growing up. I don't know.
You know who was a phenom tennis player growing up?
Drew Brees.
Josh Rosen.
Really?
Oh man, the Josh Rosen thing.
I think it is cool that he played hockey though.
Was Drew Brees also a good tennis player?
He was.
I think we talked ourselves into. I at least put some stock into the fact that Josh Rosen was like this prodigy tennis player growing up. I'm like, oh yeah, competitiveness. Like
to me, tennis
players are weird
football as much as hockey does.
Yeah. Tennis is unrelatable. Tennis players are like famously.
It's like precision. It's precision. It's accurate. It's repetitive motion and dedication to the art, dedication to the craft, athleticism, change of direction. I think there are.
Look,
dude,
tennis.
ducks though. Tennis players are like it's one of like two sports that you can actually be win a tournament with. It's everyone in the world at 16. So you get put in these academies right after you turn puberty with your friends, but they're also your lifelong career competitors. So all you do is play tennis all day at a fake school versus people that you will be competing against for your hopes and dreams all day, and they're all a little.
It's like the old aristocracy. All the kings and kaisers and tsars were all related.
World War I was just a family argument between second cousins.
I mean, look, tennis is a sport where you wear shorts and you don't have any teammates. Like it's.
You're not allowed.
It's like a pro day.
You were not allowed to talk to anyone. You were not allowed to talk to your coach for a long time.
You're playing catch.
What's that Craig just had? They just say Craig was like, "You wear shorts and don't have teammates." Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're playing catch. They're not even catching it. They're just hitting it.
That doesn't. It's pong. I actually love tennis personally. It's like one of my favorite sports to play. But like to me, the like tennis to football pipeline not as strong to me as like hockey. Like team sports, super physical. You got to like learn how to be a team player. I like that a little bit more.
I think email us at rigorfantasyfootball@gmail.com. We just triggered you about either tennis or hockey. I know people listening are furious right now.
I love tennis for what it's worth. I play it.
I like tennis too.
Multiple times a month.
Dude. I'm a big Rafa guy. Well, I won't miss a major. My brother and I text constantly.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Rafa. Yeah. Love tennis. With that said, don't want a tennis player to be my quarterback.
Dude,
now you tell me. Why do I like Rosen then?
Alcaraz is doing some stuff.
You're talking to Rosen QB1 God over here. Right? I love that young man.
Alcaraz is awesome. Man, I have so many things I want to ask you.
Alcaraz is doing some stuff on the clay that I've never seen before. He had one play a month ago.
Totally.
God.
Should you do a French Open pod?
Sure.
But we not a different feed. This feed we changed to French Open art for a week, and then we come back NFL feed. Yep.
Well, we have the little orange and the green. We just flip it to like orange, like all orange for the clay.
Yeah, that's good. We can do a live show at Wimbledon.
I have.
Probably.
I have a lot of tennis and hockey questions about you guys, but we should probably keep going. Feel free to.
You would have a lot of tennis and hockey questions.
Right,
in the holster, ready to go.
Do I do it now or do I do it later? We got to keep going here, but
no, save it.
just hit me, poke me, and it'll come out.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
I want to just go through. They sent the invites to the players who will be attending the draft in Detroit. And a reminder, we have a few tickets left for our live show. Episode description. Check it out. It's Wednesday before the draft and next week. But they sent out the invites for all the players. Every year, I really want them to consult us and who we think should be invited. But I want to go through the list. So there's only 13 players who are attending.
That is shocking to me. 13 players are attending the draft?
It is certainly the lowest in a while. I don't know if we have like the Elias Sports.
You want to know
just
how bad
COVID year,
just how bad the Will Levis shots were last year? The amount of people attending has been halved, dude. It's unbelievable.
Not just
wasn't Will Levis at home?
No, he was at the green room with his girlfriend, and then
Kenny Pickett was at home, wasn't he?
Didn't she break up with him shortly afterward?
Yeah,
because of all the sad camera shots, dude.
Tough scene.
Look at him now, though. You know what I mean? Look at him now.
Vascular.
Billy Jeans. Anyway, so here
now
are the guys
they're building a
attending
team
the
around
draft.
him.
Well, we're building for the next guy. He's just
they're not building a team around
He's a placeholder.
They're really going for it.
They
so
are.
I want you guys. I'm going to read the list, and I want you guys to tell me who is the most likely person on this list to be the Will Levis Award for, like, oh man, that camera's been here a while. We have Caleb Williams at USC. Obviously, he'll be the first pick. Drake May, he'll be fine. Jaden Daniels, he'll be fine. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors.
These are the people attending the draft.
They're all, these guys are accepted invitations. To be clear, this is not invites. These are accepted
RSVP,
invites.
yes.
RSVP, yes. Malik Neighbors at LSU. Roma Dunze out of Washington. Brian Thomas Jr. also out of LSU. J.C. Latham out of Alabama. The only offensive lineman going. That is probably the all-time low outside of literally the COVID drafts. One lineman is shocking. Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo, cornerback. Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Leatu Latu, I can never get this right. Leatu Latu at UCLA. Dallas Turner, Alabama. Darius Robinson at Missouri. Darius Robinson's the guy, right? Like, he's going to be there for a long time. He'll be there for like hours, right?
I mean, I think that because he's going, like he's probably going round one, but of the 13, 12 of the guys are like top 20, maybe top 15. Like these might, like everybody, these are the dudes. This is it. Absolutely 100%. And then there's just Darius Robinson. Maybe Darius Robinson just like really thinks it's cool. And like, he's a Detroit guy, if memory serves, right? He's like a local dude. He's from Eastern Michigan. And so he wants to go and like it's huge for his family. Like, great. Like awesome. But Robinson is 100% like, you go through the list and you're like, yep. What? He's the question mark.
I would put, I think Leatu Latu is the scary one.
Are you worried about Latu
on this list?
Why? Because he retired due to a neck issue?
Truly, like this is one of my favorite players in the draft. I think I have him 6th or 7th overall. So obviously I love his game, but yeah, he retired from football because of a neck injury. Like that is a very huge factor here.
It literally is the meme of just one problem, Billy.
Right. His
neck
might
play football.
This is like 95% of the reason that we see guys fall. Surprisingly, it's because of a medical red flag. Teams have taken them off their boards. They're worried about one thing or the other, whether it's like, degenerative knee issue, like a arthritis in the knee or something. And we see this every year where a guy's like, oh my God, he lasted to the second round. And then all of a sudden he's like a 4th rounder. And it's because teams are just so worried about the health thing. And there's been some talk over the last couple of days. I don't really know if anyone's officially reported it or not, but there is some worry. I think that teams are a little more worried about the injury than we've heard over the last couple of months. So I'm a little worried Latu might not be a 1st-round pick.
I just can't believe that the draft is this big deal. It's this massive television event. And pretty much a third of the players that will be drafted in the 1st round will be there to dap up Roger Goodell.
It's the NFL's own fault, dude. Like it really, like I joke, but like an agent sees the Will Levis thing and is much less likely to recommend for his guy to go if his guy is anywhere fringe top 20, right? Like it's like you just don't want to have that fall and have it just be the thing that everybody cuts to, right? They came back from every commercial with Richie Eisen being like, and here's Will Levis. Look at him. He's so
Will, how you feeling right now?
Will, right?
And they had the Sarah McLachlan song playing.
It would be like easier on the player if you went and interviewed him. They don't go. They just show him sitting on his phone. And like he's not even sad. It's just when something sad is happening to somebody and then you look at them living their daily life, they look extremely depressed.
Also,
it's a tough look.
Could anything have been funnier if we had captured him on his phone and what he was looking at was memes of himself on his phone? If like we had got that would have been the greatest.
Wish I wasn't wearing this fucking shirt.
Yeah. So Brock Bowers not going. I wonder the other people you'd bet your life on that would go in the first round. I feel like Brock Bowers, I'd bet my life will go in the first round.
Yeah.
But I feel like after
I will say,
he doesn't
you know how
speak, I get him not wanting attention.
A month ago, we did the whole like, what if Brock Bowers falls? Dude, there's so much reporting that like the Jets are taking him at 10, like the Titans might take him if they trade back. Like Brock's going top 15. Let's go, baby. I believe.
We're back.
We never left, but even if we did leave, we'd be back.
Yeah. So JJ McCarthy not going. He's a coward.
Scared to compete.
I will say this.
He's like, it's the fourth quarter. Why am I here?
Yeah.
You know?
I will say the best thing that's ever
Nervous bird.
Nervous bird. The best one ever was Joe Thomas, who just went fishing with his dad on a boat in international waters and just like didn't have a phone.
Maritime law.
Just came back and was like, yeah, dude, anything can happen out there. Dude,
That's
really
crazy that JJ's not going. That's kind of a red flag.
Is he afraid of his girlfraid dumping him, his high school girlfriend? Is he afraid
little bit of a draft ick that JJ's not going if I'm a team.
Yeah. It is a
Bet
draft
on yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's that NBA player who just got suspended? Jonte Porter. Bet on yourself.
Jonte Porter.
Bet on yourself, JJ.
Not literally.
So I also want to do the Kai Award for these guys. So I don't know if you guys, this is a real deep cut, if you guys remember this, but last year, so Craig got married. DK and I, we had a great time at Craig's wedding. Kai, who had been producing the show for like, I don't know, 5 months, was like, why didn't you invite me, Craig? So I in honor.
And he still gives him shit about it still. Yeah.
In honor of Kai, who is the player who did not get invited to the first round, who's like, what is it, Bo Nix? Like, who is the guy who's just like absolutely incredulous that he get invited? They're like, dude,
well, do they? I'm sure they invite anyone who's willing to come, right?
No, they do not just they do not.
I don't think they throw them out. They
invites.
throw them around. I think it's like generally guys that they really strongly believe will go.
Isn't it a better product if there's a bunch of people there who didn't get drafted and they can cut away to a lot of sad players?
Yeah.
Imagine if there were like 40 other. Imagine if it was actually every player.
I'll never, but again, like Craig talking about draft X. I remember when Brian Branch went to the draft and didn't go round one. And there were a few other players who went and didn't go round one. And all of those guys went home and they didn't go back for round two. They didn't go back to the green room. They're like, are you, I'll get drafted from home, whatever. Branch went back.
I ain't leaving
on day two.
But he didn't bring another suit, right? So he had to like go to like freaking Kohl's or something because he didn't bring enough clothes.
I would have worn the same suit again.
But he went back out and he got his walk. He got his shot in the camera going to say hi to Goodell. And now Brian Branch is good. And that's on purpose. That's why that happened.
The first year we did this, Malik Willis and Nakobe Dean went on day 3 and they went all 3 days. But yeah, shout out. Otherwise, are there any other fringe guys, I'm curious, that aren't going that you think could be round? I think the divisive guys. So I'm just going to throw out a bunch. Hit me if there's someone that you think like passionately either should or should not be round. Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, I know is very divisive.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier Worthy, that's two on the fence. Yeah.
Xavier Worthy, receiver at Texas. Do you really get to just be a first round pick if you run a 4.2 140-yard dash? I feel like he's not.
I feel like the NFL is that. That's the type of league this is. Yeah, if you run a 4.2 wide, you're gonna be first.
Mark Davis is still employed, so yeah.
Does he have a job or he just owns the thing?
I guess he doesn't. Is that not a job? He just owns. Is it a job if you own something?
Yeah. That's a good
it's
question.
His passion.
Is he employed?
Yeah,
it's his passion.
It's a vocation, really.
You own your cat. Is that your job? I don't know.
Depends who you ask. Oh no, dogs are a job. Cats, no. Cats are easy.
Yes, that's correct.
A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall.
I think A.D. Mitchell is going to be first rounder. Okay, first off, should we establish who we're very sure are going to go, and then talk about the guys who we think are going to go, or how do you want to do this?
Because I want to know about the fringe guys who everybody's on the fence on right now, and who you feel confident in that is on the fence.
I think A.D. Mitchell,
a fringe guy you want to invite to the party.
Yeah.
For better or worse, I think A.D. Mitchell is going to go in the first round. I think Byron Murphy is going to go in the first round, the defensive tackle out of Texas. I think Johnny Newton out of Illinois is going to be a first round pick. Ben, what do you think of
that? He's tricky. So Newton, like, I have money on Newton to go top 32. I've spoken to some people in the league who really like him and think he's going to go in the first round. He's minus 230 to go in the first round now on FanDuel. His line for over under opened at 18.5 on Circa the other day and then flew up and eventually hit 32.
Oh, really?
And if you go and you look at if you look at some really, really, like if you look at some of the plugged in guys, like Lance Zierlein of NFL did not have him going first round in his most recent mock. Daniel Jeremiah did not have him going first round in his most recent mock. Maybe that changes over the course of the week, but Newton, I think, goes round 1. However, there's a decent amount of smoke that he's not gonna make the cut.
Okay. So
Amarius Mims, first round.
yeah,
Pretty strong lock there, right?
Is he on the fence? Is he considered on the fence?
Well, he started 8 games ever. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, and he's a little bit hurt.
That's
Mims, Mims
played
is
8
minus
games.
2,000 to go round 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do think he goes though.
Yeah.
It's how many did Trey Lance play? 12.
What about Ladd McConkey?
Yeah, I think he is like legitimately the 32nd player. Like he is the guy between the first and second round where it would not surprise me whatsoever if Ladd McConkey goes in the first round. I know there's been some guys and some reports linking the 49ers to him. He's been mocked a million times to the Chiefs at 32. So I think both of those teams make sense. Would not be too surprising to see him go somewhere in the late 20s either. So I would lean first round, but again, it wouldn't be that surprising if he fell into the early second.
Yeah, McConkey right now plus 150 on FanDuel to go in the first round. I think that there's too many receivers with too much insert some sort of juice here for McConkey to make it, right? Where it's like Xavier Worthy with the speed, Troy Franklin with the speed, Keon Coleman with the size, right? Like I just think there's too many, like there's so many good wide receivers and like a lot of them have a thing, and Ladd McConkey's thing is just like I'm rock solid. And like in round 1, I think that the high tail guys are gonna go. But dude, the more this draft shakes out, the more like if I had to pick between like 40 and 60, I love some of the receivers. Like looks like Coleman might fall to me there, Ladd McConkey might fall to me there, Xavier Legette might fall to me there. These are all dudes that I would much rather buy than like these fringe first rounders and Xavier Worthy and Troy Franklin. The Panthers, who right now don't have their first round pick but have 2 second round picks in the first half of the second round, take 2 receivers, take 2 and fix the offense and save Bryce. Like they're in such a nice spot.
Is Brian Thomas the only receiver outside of the big 3 that you feel confident will go in the first round?
Him and AD Mitchell, I think, are the 2 I would lock. Thomas and AD Mitchell actually have very similar over-unders right now for draft position. There's a little bit of smoke that there's some teams that prefer AD Mitchell to Brian Thomas. I still think Thomas is and should be wide receiver 4, but AD Mitchell, wide receiver 4 on draft day, is now at the stage where like it would really surprise me, but it wouldn't flabbergast me. It wouldn't shock me.
Okay, so we will have the take purge coming at you hot next week, and I could not be more excited. And again, we'll be covering. We'll have another episode before the draft. We'll have live show Wednesday. We'll have coverage of the whole shebang. It's going to be great. But we have a couple important things we got to hit before we get out of here. Number 1, I don't know what you guys want to talk about, but there's 2 things with Bill Belichick today. 1, massive story on ESPN by incredible reporting by Seth Wickersham, Don Van Etta Jr., Jeremy Fowler about why Bill Belichick didn't get hired by a team. And then also, Bill Belichick went on Pat McAfee today and said he has never drank coffee.
My king.
Craig does not drink coffee. Craig proudly says coffee's for the unmotivated.
Naturally unmotivated. I wake up, big glass of water, start my day.
Similarly, if we, God forbid, because you're in a fake time zone, we ever have to do anything at like 8 a.m. Pacific.
I'm
Craig
in a fake time zone?
Yeah, I am. And or no, you are. God damn it! But you wake up, your hair's not done at 8 a.m. Your hair's not done, and you're like, oh yeah, man. It's just like I don't know. It's just these early. I'm like, yeah, that's what the fucking coffee's for.
But I've never complained about that. I've never been like, oh man, I wish I had some special elixir to wake me up. No, I don't know what I'm missing, which is great. I don't know the feeling of having a cup of coffee and it energizing me. I've had like 2 times in my life where I've tried like cold brew and I've basically had like a panic attack and I was like, why? I don't want this. And so I don't drink it.
It's crazy to me not wanting a panic attack. That's how I want my day to feel. I just want to be like, oh, like if I don't nail this, like everything, I'm dying. Like that's just that's
the house of cards.
Yeah. And shout out free ads. Also, wait, speaking of which, definitely not right now, Solak, but you need to send me your address because shout out to a guy named Corey who works at Counterculture Coffee, great coffee, and wanted to send us some coffee because he heard that you, like me, have an espresso machine and wanted.
I'll be honest. The only reason I got into this field was to get free coffee from somebody. Dude, that's my end game right there. My career's done.
I can't do the art. I just kind of make a dick in Jackie's coffee each morning out of the
Okay, let's you
so
switch to latte art way too fast with way too little context.
I can't do anything else.
You draw a penis in her coffee every morning?
Yeah.
I can't do anything else but draw the penis. That's tough. I'm sorry for you.
I do want to learn other shapes.
But I'm not.
You're literally Evan from Superbad. You just
it's basically.
Yeah.
You know what latte art are shaped like dicks? The best ones. Look, you know what's funny about my opinions on coffees? I actually think it tastes good. Like I like the taste and smell of coffee.
That's what I was going to ask, Craig, because like I certainly will drink coffee for the caffeine of it, but like I love and like an after dinner coffee. Like I just think it tastes so good. Like I love the taste.
It's a ritual. It's a ritual.
I have had decaf coffee often, and I enjoy it. So Corey, if you want to send me decaf, I'll accept it.
So what? Whose dog is barking? Is that?
Who do you think it is?
Oh, right. Sorry.
It's the great enemy of the pod.
Nugget, come on, Nugget.
I appreciate those of you who emailed. Many people emailed and said that like it's Nugget probably reacting to the pregnancy despite the fact that she isn't reacting in other ways. And that was very helpful. So thank you.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah, actually, we got an email from Robert, who I'm going to call Rob or Bobby.
Bob.
He said, our dog did the same thing when my wife got pregnant. He went from the ideal dog to a barky, protective asshole. Didn't kick in around the 5th month of pregnancy. Good news. Great with the kid. Good luck.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Dogs are pretty incredible creatures.
Dude, that's awesome.
And like, that's great. I think that Nugget will be really good with the kid. It's so frustrating because I'll be honest, I talked a big game about how well I trained this dog to a lot of people. and I was like, she doesn't bark, and she was good, and she walk in and everything. And then recently she turned into the biggest a-hole in the world. And
he's protecting your wife.
Yeah, which, I got that handled.
You got to flip it. You got to act like you trained the dog to protect your wife.
Yeah.
You got to just be like,
from all the enemies that walk on our street.
Yeah.
Nugget is challenging your masculinity, Ben.
And winning, let's be honest. Because I tell her stop and she doesn't listen. She wins every time.
I thought the Belichick thing on McAfee was so... I kind of have never seen Belichick earnestly trying to be like on and animated for the camera.
Personable, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like earnestly trying to be like, I'm good on camera. Like I'm good on mic. Like I can be fun. I'm one of the guys.
I'm hip.
When Belichick was the defensive coordinator, it didn't even come up, but he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants when they won 2 Super Bowls with Lawrence Taylor. And Bill Parcells nicknamed him Doom. And Belichick apparently loved the nickname Doom because he thought it was an excuse. He didn't have to be nice to anybody. Because when you're but Belichick apparently loved it because then the bar for being nice is so low when your name's Doom. And that's what I was thinking of, Craig, which is that has this reputation purposefully of being such a dick that when players actually got to meet him, like, hey, he's not that bad. And like, but now he's doing it to us on purpose.
Like, those photos of Tim Robinson where it looks like he's like faking a smile every time he's on the red carpet. That's how Bill Belichick looked to me on McAfee. Like he had never smiled before on camera, and like Ricky Bobby with his hands. He's like, I don't know what to do with my mouth and my cheeks when I'm not giving a post-game interview. Like I don't know how to handle that.
I just feel like it'd be weird to go through life and just treat people like that all the time, forever. It's just bizarre to me.
Treat people like what?
Like a condescending dick? I don't know.
Do you think
like that? Oh, okay,
right,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think
did I misread Belichick the last 20 years?
No, I was sure if you're like not knowing what to do with your hands or being a dick. I wasn't.
No, just having that general attitude towards everyone all the time. It's just like, I don't know.
Do you think he's just tired and needs some coffee?
Probably.
Dude, can you imagine if just have
he has one cup of coffee.
My dad talks about this all the time.
Totally normal.
Craig, my dad talks about this all the time. He had sleep apnea for like 20 years, and then he got his sleep apnea machine, and his personality legitimately changed.
Wow. Like he became happy-go-lucky. Sleeping.
Yeah, like he's like more happy-go-lucky, happy.
Yeah,
it's like, by the way, I'm actually sleeping now.
Yeah, one of those like white women Etsy mugs that's like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. We get that for Belichick, but then he just never drinks coffee, so it's just don't talk to me.
He's the nicest guy in the world, and he can't put together a game plan anymore. Oh my god. Yeah, maybe we could have actually won 10 more Super Bowls if he had just drank some coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some emails.
Emails.
A lot of emails on Baywatch. Oh my God, people really love it.
I mean,
so
that makes
much.
sense considering 1 billion people on the earth watched it. So
Is
odds
that
are,
true? Like, I thought about that more.
Does not
I don't
seem possible.
I looked into it. It was an estimate, a very like a well-researched estimate by professors at a college. Having said that, bullshit. Like, it's on Wikipedia. Bullshit. It's the same study. It has been like I'm sure it was a lot. However, 1 billion the more is literally 20% of the world at that time. That seems impossible.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a well-researched study by professionals, don't you think they would have thought the exact same thing you thought? That, like, no fucking way we're going to write down that 1/5 of the world watched this. Nobody will believe us. They clearly were compelled by this data.
Maybe they like
down
accidentally
and
just
publish it.
added a decimal or two.
It's true. 100 million is still a lot of people. Like,
I just think we
billion.
have trouble grasping what the monoculture was
put
like.
an extra yeah, maybe. Well, so a lot of emails of this, but one of them, well, let's start with John.
Johnny.
John.
Don't forget,
Jonathan.
there's a whole subplot in the movie Borat that once he's in America, he sees an episode of Baywatch on TV in his hotel and decides to track Pamela Anderson down and then briefly kidnaps her.
Forgot about that.
Did you see Pamela Anderson was cast in the new Naked Gun remake with Liam Neeson?
No.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great casting. That's fun.
So we got a lot. Oh God, so also, well, Naked Gun was O.J. Simpson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking on Baywatch O.J. Simpson. Okay, here's a weird thing that happened. Well, again, last episode we were talking about Baywatch O.J. Simpson. Got an email from Rathan.
Rathan.
David Hasselhoff's music career, while large
With
in
you so far.
Germany, was not very big in America.
Right.
So to boost his David Hasselhoff's domestic appeal, David Hasselhoff was scheduled to perform a nationally broadcasted concert in Atlantic City that would be on TV everywhere. One problem. The concert was on June 17th, 1994, which is the day of the O.J. Simpson car chase, and the ratings were horrible.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
They lost $1.5 million on the broadcast.
So
Wow.
if O.J. Simpson never got in a car chase that day, David Hasselhoff could have been the biggest DJ in America, or the biggest.
Even one day later, he might have
star
had
in
a
America.
completely different career. Yeah.
Wow.
Why was he so famous in Germany? How does one...
Is he German? I guess
Make
I
Hasselhoff
guess.
sounds
acquired
German to
German
me.
fame.
No, so Hasselhoff was born in Baltimore.
Oh,
he has
I guess I just assumed.
German, English, and Irish descent. I mean, he did his great-great-grandmother emigrated from Germany in 1865.
I googled
Yeah,
David
but that doesn't-
Hasselhoff
So that's
Germany
like every
fame.
American.
I'm like, my
fucking- yeah.
great-great-grandmother came from Italy. That doesn't mean anything.
Right. Like, I just like, how do you break into the German pop scene as David Hasselhoff, the guy on Baywatch? And he's singing in German.
Wait,
And
he performed at the Berlin Wall in 1989.
He was the coach of the German dodgeball team in the movie Dodgeball.
Yeah, Heifetz was referencing this on the last show.
Losers!
So random.
I would just love to know, like, how you get into that niche of pop stardom.
And on that note, apparently a lot of people, like so many, I decided I had to talk about it, emailed us about Baywatch Nights, which I guess is David Hasselhoff trying to spin off Baywatch to do actual crime solving at night. And then it didn't work because there were no lifeguards running into the ocean. So then they had to
Imagine that.
pivot.
Yeah.
They had to pivot for season 2, and they had to make Baywatch Nights like they were like, we got to do something. So they tried to make it psychedelic, like it was what was it? Oh shit, what's the show? Like Twilight Zone, where he could like dream and see the crimes as they were happening.
Oh.
And that also did not
It's like
work.
Minority Report. He's
yeah.
like a precog.
Clairvoyant.
Yeah, and that didn't
Lifeguard
work either.
cops.
So then they canceled it and he went back to Baywatch.
It's hard to believe those shows
I-
didn't work.
I just love the way that decisions were made before we had like all this data, when it was just like, crap, we don't have any lifeguards running into the water. This show's tanking. What should we do? And there's like 8 white guys in an office on the 43rd floor. And they're like, what if we make them psychic? And they're like, yeah, that's good.
Says they had their 3rd martini over lunch. Oh my God. Also, people love the song. The song was like,
Great song.
that was an incredible song. Yeah, Baywatch.
Kai played a lot of it. And I'm like, okay, we could get sued, Kai. Maybe only 20, 30
He
seconds.
played like 2 full
Too
minutes.
much. Too much, guy. Too much.
Little too much, Kai.
Kai got a little cocky, you know.
Just flying too close to the sun.
Reel it in. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Icarus.
Kai,
Right.
you just couldn't turn it off. It was too good, you know. It's like the song just bangs, just slaps.
All right. There's more Baywatch stuff. I have another Baywatch email I'm gonna read.
I
Pamela
can't stop
Anderson
with the Baywatch stuff. I want to know more.
I'm telling you,
there's a
Baywatch
Pamela
is
Anderson
endlessly
one.
fascinating. Everything about it.
There's a Pamela Anderson email I will save for the Take Purge.
Okay.
But for now, I actually have, this is big. We have a Hall of Fame email that I'm about to read.
Okay.
Hall of Fame.
It's from Mark.
Marco.
The subject line is vasectomy.
Okay.
What is this
Obviously.
apropos of? Have we talked about vasectomies?
No, we have not.
All right,
As I'm
Mark,
sure you can
non-sequitur,
imagine.
I love it.
As I'm sure you can imagine, there's quite a bit of
Non-sexer as well.
anxiety, and stress leading up to a vasectomy. So I planned ahead, and I saved your show from Wednesday to listen to while waiting for my appointment. And I ended up listening to the show for the duration of the vasectomy procedure.
How long is
Although
that
I
take?
missed some of the Shrek discussion. I would recommend this to anyone having a vasectomy. What other podcast could make this claim?
Okay, I got questions. One, aren't you under for a vasectomy? You're not under?
Nope.
No.
You're just
chilling. It's
I
like
don't
brain
like that.
surgery. You got to stay awake.
I'd like to be put under.
It's too dangerous.
I
It's
just
too
want that
dangerous to
for
put you
me.
under when you're operating on the balls. You know.
Why did he miss some of the Shrek discussion?
probably.
He had to take an AirPod out so the
What
doctor could
happened
talk to him. Sorry, doctor. I want to hear about how it went, but first, these guys are discussing how long Shrek's arms
The
might
vast
be.
Shrekerins? I don't know.
Is it?
Wow.
So getting a vasectomy, is it like going to the dentist now where they're like, you can just toss on headphones and like kind of check out? You
I
don't
think
get
they just
these.
put up a sheet and there's like pressure. It's what they say. It's just like, because a lot of guys get the vasectomy during March Madness, right?
Right.
What?
That's what they say.
No, it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
yeah,
it's like a
because
whole
then
thing.
you can stay at home and ice your balls for a couple days.
Yeah, you guys, it's an excuse to ice your balls to do it. Yeah.
I've never heard
Watch
that.
more all weekend.
Wow.
I like excuse to ice your balls. That people are preventing you from icing your balls now. You need to find a way around it.
If anyone is getting a vasectomy who's listening to the show and you listen to us, please
Describe
let
it
us
in
know.
detail for
We
us.
should
That
have a
feels like-
vasectomy hall of fame for people who listen to our show during their vasectomy.
That feels like
It's
a
like
Curb Your
bricks or-
Enthusiasm episode where Larry really wants to watch March Madness, but his wife won't let him, so he gets a vasectomy just so he can watch March Madness.
Yeah.
That is
Oh my
right
God.
up Curb's alley.
All right. That's all we got. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Solak. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Although, lock it up, Kai.
Lock it up.
Thank you. Lock it up. Thank you, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone. I'm forgetting people. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dan Comer, for research help. Thank you, Kiera. Thank you, Mark, for trusting us during, frankly, one of the most vulnerable moments of your entire existence on this earth. You were hopefully in multiple sets of good hands. Thank you, Lorne.
Lord.
Thank you, Motley Crue.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of
Do you understand the connection?
No.
Pamela Anderson.
Oh, is that
I was
the,
in
oh,
vas-
that
I was
guy
thinking,
was
I
in
was
that?
thinking vasectomies.
Tommy Lee, right?
Yeah.
Is
Tommy
that
Lee.
what he was
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
I started to realize now why the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee stuff was such a big deal, where I don't realize why it was such a big deal until I realized how big Baywatch was. And that all makes more sense of how crazy that was.
And you mean like the sex tape, the whole thing?
Yeah, I see how that was a larger deal now that Pamela Anderson was actually the most famous woman in the world at a point or whatever. That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Those guys were crazy. Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee. Anyway, no one has thoughts.
I honestly don't know a lot about.
Well, we had people email in.
Don't
and be like-
remember, yeah.
I mean, we had people email in and be like, yeah, that was like the first woman I saw naked. And I'm like, yeah, I guess this is at, the dawn of like, you go from watching porn magazines in the woods to like, what's
Watching.
that video?
Go
Yeah.
But she,
watching
you mean
porn
she's
magazines in the
Like,
woods.
you see how that
She's
imprints
moving.
in your 13-year-old cerebellum.
They used to just try to make a flip book really quickly.
Everybody, by the way, I
Flip
get
book.
tagged on Twitter like once a month because someone's talking about porn in the woods, like somewhere on Twitter, and it's just like that's
Is that a big thing for you, DK? I didn't know.
in my day
so
and
I've
age.
never heard this.
Gather round, children. Gather round, children.
I'm
Tell us about
familiar
the
with
war,
the concept.
Grandpa.
I just didn't know people linked it to DK so much.
That's just because
Yeah.
I talked about it on a show like a couple of years ago where in my generation there was the internet, but it was like very early stages. So when I was growing up,
It was on DVDs.
That's
It
not
was
what
on CDs,
AOL was
excuse me,
sending you
CDs.
to
no,
know.
it was not on DVDs. It was on tape cassettes, which you you had to like rip pornos onto tapes or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's whole thing. Anyway, the way that boys
now
of my
you just
generation,
now you just toss on the Apple Pro and disappear. You know,
you
Apple Vision
gotta
Pro.
be careful with the whole Bluetooth, like what you're connected to, you know, when you're watching it. Anyway, in my day, there was like porn stashes in the woods that it was like a library. It was like a porn library in the woods. And that's where you get your pornography, or you steal it from your dad or whatever. But now it's just so easy. Kids don't even have to fucking try. This new generation's soft. They don't have to even try to find porn.
Do you think that's where Woody came from? The term Woody, an erection?
Maybe. I think trees are straight
trees
and erect.
Now the Tiger Woods picture shaking hands with the tree looks real different.
Yeah.
God, the memes for that were amazing.
Dude, the best was someone's like Tiger meets Woods. Like,
Yeah.
like handshake.
I like that. There was like one about Tiger Woods takes up recycling, just shaking hands with a tree.
Just Tiger Woods like apologizing to the tree. He
Craig
crashed
doesn't
the car
believe in
into it.
recycling though, so it didn't
No.
really work on him.
What are you
But
talking about?
Yeah, so like
Don't you put that on me?
he drinks
Craig
Of
hates
course,
recycling.
Poppy.
I believe in the idea of it and that it's good for the environment. I just believe that a lot of the places where you throw trash away and claim to be recycling are not actually recycling those materials.
They're lying to you. Yeah, this is my conspiracy, but it's.
But I believe in the practice and idea of recycling.
We should be doing that.
Okay.
Solak,
Got
just
it.
so you know, when DK first talked about the porn of the woods thing, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Solak, I cannot tell you how many men over like 40 years old emailed us to be like, "He was there, I was there, it happened." Like everyone was suddenly like, "That was my life."
DK,
Youngins,
Dude, the world before the internet was the Wild West.
That's wild. I love that.
Were people acting upon
No,
that
not
in the woods?
well,
They're just reading it.
I think that's a very, very small majority of people, maybe, but no, not in my experience. It was like
you said
know.
small majority. I don't think that's what. You meant.
small minority. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
the majority
no.
were just reading the
You're
articles.
looking at it together with friends and then going back and doing whatever you do.
right. Or it's like, you check out the magazine and you bring it back later, kind of deal.
It's a library system. You have a
Right.
card.
You're on the honor
scouting.
system. Yes.
Yeah, got it.
I don't think there was very much, circle jerking happening or whatever you want us to call it. Yeah. Although that is a term, so it certainly has probably happened in the world at some point.
Sure. Email us.
Should we go?
Should we go? What's this circle jerk you guys are talking about? Sounds wild.
Bye, everyone.